In this video, we are going to be making this advanced slider and image carousel. And as we go through these different images, you can see how the background changes as well. Really cool effect going on over here. And it's not just the dragging functionality that we're going to be putting in. These little buttons over here, if you click them, you can see how everything changes over here. There's this little scroller. This is also completely functional. This is all done in Elementor, and this is mobile friendly. Now, before I show you, if you're in a hurry to actually just try this out yourself, there is a link in the description of this video that's going to take you to the complete template that you can go and download. Once you've downloaded the zip file, all you have to do is extract the contents, just like that. And the template that you're looking for is this file over here. Let me just show you how to put it in really quick. It's very simple to do. Here in the Elementor page builder, if the pop-up for the library doesn't appear, it's this icon right over here. What you're looking for is this import template button. We're just going to click that quick. And here in this window, we're going to take that template file and we're going to drop it right in there. It is going to give you this warning. You don't have to worry about it. It's standard for all template imports. You say continue. And the one that you're looking for is this advanced slider. All you have to do is say insert, apply, and it'll import everything for you. And this thing is ready to go. So all you have to do is click on publish and it's done. The only things you'd have to actually edit, obviously, is these buttons and text and that. But that's going to be shown in the tutorial anyways. But it is pretty easy to find. So on the left hand side, you can see that this text content, there's all the things laid out for you. So if you want to change the headers, there's the headers, the text for the headers, the buttons and where the link to, as well on the right hand side where you have the carousel where you can actually select all the things to customize for those images. And for the people who want to actually see how to build this thing, we're going to do that right now. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete all this and we're going to start this from the beginning. So just heads up, this is a little bit more of an advanced design, but if you follow along, everything will be okay. So the first thing you're going to need is this navigation window right over here. If you don't have it, it's just this icon over here and it'll pop up. So to start this off, we are going to go add our first container and we want this double container right over here. We're going to click that. So we're going to change the name of this container before we do anything. During the course of this tutorial, there's going to be a lot of name changes so that we can find everything easily. So the name of this container is going to be the slider container. Then while we're here and changing names, the second container over here, which is the first kid of the parent, we're going to change this to left side and the other one right side. Okay, so now if we click on the slider container, the main one, we're going to change all the settings of this one. So the content width, we want full width. The min height, we're going to change it to be H and we're going to say 100. And the width, we can just have it at 100%. Then if we go down a little bit, the align items, we're going to put center, and the gap's going to make sure that it's on 0. Under advanced options, we are just going to set the overflow to hidden. Now we head over to style. For the background type, we are going to put the image slideshow. We're going to add all the images we want. It's going to be the same number we're going to be using for all the slides as well as the images inside the image carousel. So over here, I'm going to be putting in 5 for this tutorial. So just open it up. Select my 5, say these 5 right over here and say create new gallery. Now that we have that, this infinite loop, we don't want it, so we say no. The lazy load, we're going to put yes, and then we're going to add the background overlay. So over here, we want a gradient type. The first color, we're going to set this to black, and the second color, we're going to put it to white and make it completely transparent. The degrees, we want it at 150, and the opacity is going to be 0.5. So once we're done with that, we're going to go over to advanced. And we're going to change this padding over here, so we're going to delink it, and we want 10 for the left and the right. Now if we scroll down, you can see the CSS classes. We are going to start putting in class names here. So in the description of this video, you're going to find a reference page link that's going to take you to my website, and everything you need is going to be there. So let's just head there now. So here's that page. This video over here is going to change because obviously this video hasn't been released yet. But if you scroll down, the very first code widget, you can see that it's all the different names that we're going to be using. And underneath is all the different code that we're going to copy paste. So what we're going to start this off is we're going to copy this first one that says reboot slider. We copy that over. And in the page builder, we're just going to paste that right here. While we're here in this page, if we go back up to the layout and the padding, we're just going to change this in mobile. So if we click this little desktop icon, we go to mobile. And this, we're just going to set it all to 0. Okay, so now we go back to desktop view. Let's start doing the settings of the left and right side. So we're going to click this left side container. The percentage, we're going to make sure that it's full width at 50%. The direction is fine. Leaving everything else open is fine. Then the last thing for this left container is we're just going to make sure that the row is horizontal. Then the settings for the right hand side container, we just have to double check that it's full width at 50%, and then that's it. We don't have to do anything else. we're going to have everything as a vertical on this one. Okay, so now we're going to go back into the left side container, and in here we're going to add 2 containers. Now the first one, if I go look at the example, is going to have the scroller, and the second one is going to do all this content right over here. Let's go and get those containers. So we go and drop the first one, and then we can just duplicate it right over here. So now you can see this is how it's going to look like. The first one, we're going to change the name and we're going to call this the scroller, and the second one is the text content. So now if we're in the scroller container, we're going to change a couple of things over here. So we must make sure it's full width. We're going to change this to pixels, and we're going to say that this is 30. The height, we're going to make sure it's pixels, and we're going to say 600. The justify content, we want space between, and we want everything centered. Now while we're here, if we click on this desktop icon under width, we go into tablet. The height of this one, we're going to change this to 500. Everything else is fine. And then if we change this to mobile, the width we're going to change to pixels, which is going to be 200. The height is pixels, and this one's going to be 30. Okay, so now we're back in desktop mode. We're going to go to advanced for this one. We're going to change the position to absolute. These settings like this is fine, but we are going to put it in a class name. So in the reference page, it's going to be this one that says reboot bar. Copy that, and we paste it right there. So we're going to change this into mobile view quick. So we just click one of these offsets, go into mobile, and the position offsets, we have to change this here. For the horizontal orientation, we're going to change this to percentage and say 50, and the offset for vertical is -105. Okay, so now we're done with that. We're going to go to the text content container right here on the right hand side. We just have to make sure that it's full width. We're going to justify content to the center. Then under advanced, we're going to take out the padding, we're going to put in our own. So the right is going to be 15 and the left is going to be 15 as well. Now that we're done with that, we're going to go into tablet. Right, we want 5, and left we want 3. Then in mobile, we want to delink this, and the bottom we're going to say 50. Okay, we are done with this container. Now it's time to add the stuff for this container. So inside this container, we're going to add 3 separate containers. One's going to be for the headings, the one's going to be for the text content, and the one's going to be for the buttons. So let's go and add those containers here quick. Just make sure it's in the right place. So this first one's there. I'm just going to duplicate it 2 more times, and there we go. So this first container, I'm going to double click it. I'm going to say this is the heading container. Second one, do the same thing. I'm going to change the name. I'm going to say that this is the text container. And the last one is the button container. Now, if we go to the heading container, the only thing we're going to have to do over here is under advanced, we have to give a class name for this. So if we go into that reference page, it's this reboot changing widget. This is actually the same class name. We're going to call the other for the text and the other for the buttons. They're all going to have the same class name. So here we put in the class name, we say paste. If we go into a text container, this one under advanced, we're going to give that same class name. And then if we go to the button container, this one under advanced, we are going to give that same class name again. Now I'm still in mobile view, but if you're not in mobile view for the button, we are going to change the margins over here. So here we're going to delink this, and this top we're going to give it a -20. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change this into desktop. We're going to do the same thing, but instead of -20, we're going to give this a -15. Okay, so now we're done with those. What we're going to do is we're going to take the heading widget and we're going to put it into this container. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, take the heading, put it in. Now here you can add whatever you want, but for this example, I'm just going to call this country. For the text color, I'm going to put this as white. For the typography, I'm going to put this as a 64, and I'm going to change this to EM, and I'm going to put this as 1.15, I think. While I'm here, I'm going to click on the size, go to tablet, say this is 50, change this to mobile, and put this to 30. Okay, so now we can go back into desktop view, and we are good to go. So now I'm going to duplicate this like the same amount of background images we had. So I'm going to have 5 of these headings. So duplicate 3, 4, 5. Now you can rename your headings over here if you want. So like heading 1, 2, 3, or the same thing as whatever you had put in. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'm going to leave it like this for now. But what I am going to do is I'm going to change all these to actually be something else. So like this first one is country. The second one, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say that this is the ocean. The third one, I'm going to say that this is mountain. Fourth, say something like snow retreat. And the fifth, I think I'm going to go with cliffs. Okay, so now that we're done with that, it's time for the text container. So over here, we're going to add the text editor. So we're going to click the plus sign. Take the text editor, put it in. So you can put in whatever text you want in this, but we're going to concentrate on the styling. So under style, the text color, I'm going to put this to white. The typography, I'm not going to play with about too much, but I'm going to set it to 16, and that should be just fine. Okay, so now we're done with all that of the text. we're just going to duplicate this the same amount of time as the heading and the background pictures. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now each one of these each one of these text editors and headings is for every slide. So obviously this is in order, so you know exactly which slide comes next. Okay, so we are done with the text. It's time to do the buttons. So in this button container, we are going to go get the button. So there's the button widget, click, drag, and drop. This button, I'm going to change the text to say explore, but you can change it to whatever you want for your particular design, but in this tutorial, we're just going to go with that. And then you can put whatever link that you'd want for it. And then for the design, I'm going to change it up a little bit. This color over here is a green. I don't really like it, so I'm going to go with some sort of blue. Maybe something like that is okay. The border radius, I'm just going to put to 0. Then the padding, I'm going to say that this is 15, 30, 15, and 30. And again, what we're going to do is just duplicate it the same amount of times as everything else. There's a second, third, fourth, and fifth. And just remember, when you're actually customizing it, then just go through the buttons and change them just like the text and the headings. Okay, so we are done with the left side. So we can just close this all up just like that, and now we can do the right side. So for the right side, we're going to add 3 things. We're going to add the HTML widget, we're going to add the testimonial carousel, and we're going to add a container. Let's go fetch that stuff. So get testimonial, so this testimonial carousel, take it, put it in. Then we're going to go get the HTML widget, put that as well, and then we're going to go and get that container. So the order we're looking for is testimonial, then HTML, then container. This container, I'm going to change it. I'm going to say button container. And what that is if we go into this example, this is what we're going to be making over here. But first, let's go change the testimonial carousel. So we're going to click on that. We can delete these first 2 items, and for the content we can take this all out, and then we can go and put in our first image. So mine was country, so I'm going to go look for my country one, put that in. For the name over here, I'm going to say the same as the main heading there, so I'm just going to say country. And for the title, I'm going to say something like resort. Okay, so now I've done with that, then I can go and duplicate this the same amount of times. So for my example, everything was 5, so I'm going to go on the second one. I'm going to go choose my ocean image, go with this one over here. I'm going to say that this is the ocean, and I'm just going to say holiday. Okay, so third one, this one for me is the mountains. So I'm going to get the mountain image. Then I'm going to say mountain over here, and I'm also going to say as a title is holiday. Again, this is just a tutorial, so it doesn't really matter. It's for the design I'm going after. Then the fourth one, I'm going to say a snow retreat. So it's going to be this one over here, put that in. And then I'm going to say snow retreat. And I'm just going to put this as, say, scenic views. Almost there, I promise. Now, fifth one, change the image. Let me go with the clips. And the name can be clips. And I'm going to say this is untouched beauty. Okay, now let's start customizing this thing. So image inline is fine, alignment is fine. Slides per view, we're going to change this to 5. And the width, we're going to change this to pixels. And we're going to say that this is 1400. For the additional options, this autoplay we want off. Lazy load can be yes. Then if we go to style, the space between, we're going to say that this is 30 pixels. And the padding, we're going to unlink this. The top is going to be 20, right 20, bottom 25, and left 20. Now if we go to content, the text color we want white. Typography, I want this a little bit bigger, so I'm going to say this is 20. The line height, I'm going to change this to EM. I'm going to say maybe a 1.3. Then I can go out of that. Then name, I'm going to put to white as well. Going to do the same thing. Go to typography, put it to 20. Line height, EM 1.3. And this title, same thing, put it to white. This one, you can set it to whatever size you want. This one, not for me. I'm just going to put it to maybe an 18. And that should be good enough. Okay, so now we're going to go to advanced for this thing. The margins, we're going to unlink this. And the bottom, we want a -30. Now, this one needs a class as well. So if we go to a reference page, those are the that we had done there. When we want now, reboot side slider, we're going to copy that and we're going to paste that right here. Now, while we're here, we're going to go straight into mobile view. And what we're looking for is the actual margin here. So here we can leave this all, but we want to take out the padding. So it's going to make this as a 0. And that's everything that we need for this widget. Okay, so now we just have to do the button container. So this one, we're going to click on that. We're going to make sure the direction is horizontal because we want these buttons next to each other right there. The gaps, we're going to say 17. Odd number, but it works out. And the only thing really that we have to do over here is if we go to advanced and we change the desktop view into mobile, we're going to unlink this, and the top we're going to say -15. So that in mobile is just going to bring the buttons up more in line to where we want it. Now inside this container, we of course need the actual buttons. So let's go get a button widget right now. Plus sign, go get a button and put it in. So this, we don't want any name here because we just want the arrow. So we're going to take out the text and we're going to put in our icon. So I'm going to look for an arrow and I want this one pointing to the left. Insert. Then under style, the button text color, we're going to make this a little bit more darker. Maybe not a complete black. You can go a lot more if you want to. The background color, we're going to put this to white. But what we're going to do as well is we're going to make this a bit more transparent. How transparent, it is up to you. But maybe around about 75 is the way I'm going to go with this tutorial. Then we want this to be round. So in the border radius, we're going to give this 100. The padding we have to change as well. So if to unlink this, top is 12, right is 14, bottom is 12, and left is 14. And now we're going to have this roundish button happening right over there. Now we have to change the advanced settings here. What we're looking for is position. We have to change this to absolute. If there's no data over here, we must just make sure that both of them are 0. And then what we're going to do while we're here in this page is we're going to give a class name for this. So if you go in the reference page, this is going to be reboot slider left, copy that and paste it right here. Okay, so now we're done with these settings. If we go over to right here, we can just say duplicate the button. Here we're going to change the icon. We're going to say that this is the arrow pointing in the opposite direction. And we say insert. All the settings pretty much stay the same. But if we go down to advanced and we go to here, the horizontal orientation, we actually want it to be on the right side. And we have to change this reboot slider left to reboot slider right. So you can just copy that, or you can just change the left to right. And now we are done designing this whole thing. It's time to put in all the code. Okay, so for me personally, I'm just going to be in desktop mode, and here we go. We're going to go in a reference page. We're going to take our first code. We're going to copy this. This is going in the slider container. So back in the editor, it's this very top one here that says slider container. So you can see it says reboot slide, and there it says reboot slide, just to make for a sanity check. And we are going to paste this in the custom CSS. Now we head over back into reference. We scroll down a little bit. This one is for the scroller, so we copy that, go back in, and if we open up the left side, the scroller container is where we're going to put this in. So unadvanced, down at the bottom in CSS, and we paste that. Okay, next one. So back in reference, scroll down to the next one. This one is for the text container, so we copy that, go into our editor, and where that one is this text content. That's the container. Go to advanced in the bottom, and we paste this there. This will handle all the custom screen sizes in between our 3 main types that we have of tablet and mobile. Now next, back in the reference page, this is going into the header container. We copy that. In the text content, we open this up. There's our 3 containers. The header container, in advanced, in the bottom, paste that there. Go back into reference, scroll down more, and this one is for the text container. We copy this one, and now we go into the text container, same thing, advanced, custom CSS, paste. You can see how these things are changing. Don't worry about that. It's going to look good in the front end. Now, we go back into our reference page. Now, this same code is going to go for the buttons as well. I didn't copy paste it 3 times on that page because that page was this ridiculously long. Okay, so the same code that's in this text container, you're going to go to the button container, in advanced, in custom CSS, and paste. Okay, now back to the reference page. We scroll down to the next one. This is for the testimonial carousel. So we copy this one. We go back into the editor. It's on the right hand side, the testimonial carousel, and advanced, custom CSS, and paste. We're almost there. So back into the reference page. This code is for the HTML widget. Copy, back in the editor, HTML widget, and paste. It's all starting to take shape now, huh? Guess what the next thing we're going to do? Not go to a reference page, not do any more copying and pasting. All we have to do now is hit publish. And if we go check this in the front end, there it is, our slider, working pretty well. But one thing I don't want over here, or looking at it, I want to put this into the middle of the screen real quick. Very easy to do. In the editor, on the left hand side, the text content container, we're just going to say justify content to the center. And we publish again, there it is. And as we're scrolling through, everything is working, the numbers are working, these buttons are working. We are just going to adjust one or two things just for mobile, but it's very quick to do. So if we go and see it in mobile right now, you can see that although that the widgets are pretty cool, I want this one at the bottom and I want more slides to be displayed here for mobile. So let's just fix all that quick. Here in the editor, the scroller, if we go to advanced, we've got these settings for absolute, okay? So if we go into mobile, one thing that I forgot to do here is just put this at the bottom. And again, we're going to say the offset of 105. So that's exactly where it's supposed to be. So if we click publish and we look at the mobile side, it's now at the bottom here. But we're also going to make it go horizontal. So to do that, very easy, we go into the layout, and the only thing we have to change here is click on the horizontal. Other things can stay the same. If we click publish, there's the scroller looking pretty nice over there. And now we're just going to tidy up this piece over here. So what we have to do for that, because this is too big, we want to have a couple of slides here. In the testimonial carousel, we go to content, and the slides per view here is going to be 3. And this width, we're going to change it to a percentage of 100. So if we click publish now, looking a lot better there. Another thing we want to do, if for some reason your settings didn't actually stay with your buttons, for the mobile view, this button over here, the absolute positions, so the second vertical, we're going to put this as a -105. Then we go into second button, we go down, absolutes, -105. So now if we go and update this, those buttons are going to be pretty much in a nice good place there. And there we go. This is looking a whole lot better there. And as you can see in the mobile view, everything is pretty cool. So I hope you like this slider. It is one hell of a code fest in there, but it looks amazing, and you're not going to find this as a widget, let's be honest. And it's completely mobile responsive. I hope you liked this video. If you did, smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing as well. That stuff makes a big difference to a small channel like mine. If you have any suggestions or anything, then just put a comment down below. Let me see what I can do. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.